Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about something that affects a lot of decisions we make every day. It affects our everyday life, and that's called inflation. But in our case, it's inflation on a fixed income. Now, in my opinion, the term fixed income is kind of a misnomer because just about everybody I know is on a fixed income of one way or another. Unless you're in commission sales, you have your own business, or there's bonuses involved, we're all on fixed income. If you're a policeman, you're on fixed income. If you're a nurse, you're on a fixed income. If you're a retail worker, you're on a fixed income. So ours is a little different naturally. We don't have the time to really improve our situation a whole lot. But fixed income, just about everybody's on a fixed income. But the inflation seems to attack the retirees a little bit more than everybody. Now, I've had the privilege of living a long time, and a lot of you have too. We've lived through inflationary periods before. Uh, I can remember when I first started driving when I was 16, gas was 35 cents a gallon. Now it's nowhere near that now, but I've lived through it. I've lived through a lot of things, and inflation has always been there. This is not a new thing. This is not something that's just crept up over the last year or two or three. It's always been here. I've never seen prices go down on hardly anything. The prices, once they go up, they stay up. Now they may shrink the size of the packaging, they may shrink the services, but the prices will not come down. Now I've had the privilege of being broke at one point in my life, and then being flush, and then being broke again, and then being flush again. And now I've ended up in a situation where I'm just kind of it's enough. I'm not broke. I'm not flush, and but I'm still dealing with the inflation. So I know what it's like to be to go without, and I know what it's like to have plenty. I've learned to be content. Not happy, but I've learned to be content in all situations. It finally, the inflation bug really hit me about a year ago, I guess. I was sitting there, and within a week's time, we had several of our bills. We are debt free, but we had several bills that hit at one time. Our cable bill went up. Our utility bill went up. Our homeowners insurance went up. Our real estate taxes went up, and there was a big jump in groceries. Well, these are all kind of have to things. So what we did with the cable, I immediately got on the phone. I got my bill. I went on, got on the phone and said, "Well, is there anything we can do?" I said, "I'm thinking about switching to Netflix or something else, something different." And as soon as I started that conversation, they suddenly found some discounts that were available to me, and it saved me about $20 or $30 a month. It wasn't a lot, but it was something. Utilities, yeah, they went up. The heating and cooling went up. The electricity went up. Well, this is common sense type stuff. We don't leave lights on. We don't leave TV on when there's nobody watching. We we stay relatively cool in the wintertime. We stay relatively warm in the summertime. Uh, but it's not hard to figure out. I remember I had a rental property one time, and some about 7 or 8 years ago, I guess, and some lady moved in, and she called me about a month later after she moved in. She said, "Larry, my utility bill was outrageous. It was in the wintertime." I said, "Well, how much was it?" She said, "It was like $500. I forget what the exact amount was. I said, "Well," she says, "there's got to be something wrong with the furnace." "Well, what do you have it set on?" She said, "Well, I only have it set on 78. And I started laughing. She said, "It's not funny." I said, "You came from an apartment, didn't you? Where the heat was paid for?" "Well, yeah." "Well, guess what? My in the furnace in the wintertime, mine is set uh, in the wintertime. In the summertime, mine is set at 68, so it doesn't kick on a whole lot. So you just have to adjust your lifestyle to that." And she finally got it. I don't know if she ever did or not. It never bothered me one way or the other. And our real estate taxes took a big jump, which is only understandable because real estate prices have gone up a lot in the last few years. And then groceries, they started hitting pretty hard. Eggs got expensive. I'm on a ketovore diet. I eat a lot of eggs. I probably eat 30 to 40 eggs a week myself. And then, but the egg prices went up. Lots of grocery prices went up. And so you just make some little adjustments. But this is not going to be This is not going to be a video about how to save money or where to save. There's lots of videos on that and people doing that, and that's okay, and they're all good. And I glean something from each and every one of them. But what makes me laugh is I watch some of these TikTok videos. Now I'm not on TikTok, but I do watch it when somebody compiles a bunch of them on YouTube, and they'll have 30 minutes of people just whining about this or whining about that, the prices. But one thing I've noticed, not in every case, but in a lot of the cases, I'd say the majority of the cases, the person talking has their nails done, they have their hair done, they're speaking in a car generally, a nicer car than what I own, and they just have their priorities wrong. Mostly young people. Mostly young people. I know this hits us older folks a lot different, but it's mostly young people. And but I have to chuckle. You know, this is by their own demise. They're spending this money. I just watched one today where they calculated what they spent on uh, fast food last year. One couple, just a young couple, had spent $11,000 on fast food. Fast food. That's not even counting dining out. Just fast food. So we're kind of in control of our own destiny as far as that goes. Now, are my wife and I doing without some things? Yeah, we're doing out without some things, but it doesn't change our quality of life in the least. It's just the little things that we take care of. But some of the things I do, I'd like to hear in the comments what you guys do, because that'll help everybody that's watching this channel. One thing we do is we don't eat out. We just don't. It's July as I'm making this video, and this year so far we've eaten out twice. Once there's an elderly gentleman from church that we befriended. He's a widower, and he insisted on taking us out one time. So we went out to a really nice restaurant. He treated. He was happy. We were happy. Got to spend some time with him, get to know him a little bit better. And the second time was we had an anniversary a few weeks ago, and we went out to a very, very nice restaurant on our anniversary. And that's it. We just don't eat out. About once every 2 or 3 months, we might carry in some Penn Station or Wendy's or something. It's just something different. But for the most part, we don't eat out. Now, the exception to that rule is this. We spend money building relationships. For example, my wife had breakfast with a lady today. She's known her for about 3 or 4 years, but she didn't really get to know her very well. And so they went out for breakfast. My wife got the treat. We spent the money. Not a big thing. It's in our budget to do that. So we spend money building relationships, not just feeding our bellies. Bottom line is we just don't spend money on things that we don't need to spend money on. We all have our things that we like to spend money on. One of the things I do, I go I'm an early riser. I get up about 4 o'clock every day. But about 5 o'clock, I run over to the local speedway, which is only about a mile and a half from my house, and I get a coffee. It gets me up out of the house. Now, when it's really cold or nasty in the wintertime, I don't do it. But it gets me out of the house, gets me moving a little bit, and I talk to the people over there. And I've been such a regular customer for like 25 years. Most of the time, my coffee is free. They just comp it to me because I get my gas there. I get a few other things there. And so it doesn't cost me. It's a guilty pleasure that sometimes I have to pay for, but not very often. And I'll tell you what, I don't care where I am. I will not spend $7 for a cup of coffee at Starbucks or you name the place. I just won't do it. We just don't spend money on things we don't spend money on. We're very frugal. We think long term. But there's lots of videos on this. I'd really love to hear in the comments what you guys are doing, what you guys think about it. Inflation is hurting all of us in some way, shape, or form. But I'd like to hear what you guys are doing. That way we can all benefit from this. Overall, I think it's just a mindset, doing it out a few little things that kind of takes care of the bigger things. And that's all I've got for now. Until we meet again, and I hope it's soon, I will continue to press on towards the goal.